The regular meeting of the Wayne-Westland Community School Board of Education is now brought to order on Monday, July 17th, 2017, at 7 o'clock. That's a lot of sevens. On behalf of the Board of Education, I would like to welcome everyone. Your attendance this evening reflects the interest in local education and is greatly appreciated. Item number 107.18, Pledge of Allegiance. Ron, you want to lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 108.18, roll call. Ms. Hines.
Mr. Cox.
Present.
Mr. Buckaloo.
Present.
Dr. Weaver.
Present.
Ms. Hines present. Ms. Madison. Ms. Madell.
I'm here.
Ms. Walker.
Present.
Let the record show 7-0.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 109.18, citizen comments, agenda items only. Okay. Seeing none, moving on to item number 110.18, consent agenda.
Move approval.
Support.
Moved by Dr. Weaver, supported by Ms. Madison. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Madell.
Yes.
Mr. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo.
Yes.
Dr. Weaver.
Yes.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Madison.
Yes.
Ms. Walker.
Yes.
Let the record show 7-0.
Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to item number 111.18, review and approval of human resource items. Mrs. Bowl.
Thank you, Madam President. On occasion, an agenda item may be presented to the Board of Education for approval that presents a conflict of interest with the trustee. This was the case on June 26, when multiple contracts were presented for board review and board ratification. Under Michigan law, a trustee is presumed to have a conflict of interest when an immediate family member will benefit from the ratification of a contract. This was the circumstance for Dr. Weaver. The proposed resolution, for which we need your approval, rectifies the 7-0 affirmative vote cast at the June 26 meeting and reaffirms the ratification, for which we would need your approval, of the WWEA contract without Dr. Weaver's participation. The recommended motion,
Sorry.
Well, let's let the
jumped the gun.
president present.
I jumped the gun.
Go ahead.
it was a good segue. The recommended motion is in your packet.
Okay, at this time, we'll take a motion. Mrs. Madison, support. Any approval or?
A second.
A second. Mrs. Madell. At this time, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Madison.
Yes.
Ms. Madell.
Yes.
Mr. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo.
Yes.
Dr. Weaver.
I abstain.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Walker.
Yes.
Let the record show 6 and 1.
Six with one abstention.
6 with 1 abstention.
Can I say something?
Yes.
In the past, I've had to recuse myself from this because of my husband's job at working cadre at basketball and football games, but that is an at-will position, and right now he is not employed in an at-will position. That might change in the fall, but at this point in time, I am available for voting purposes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item number 112.18, review and approval business services and finance items. Mr. Larson Schuyler.
Thank you, Madam President. First item that I have tonight is purchase of Chromebooks and mobile computing carts. There are 720 Chrome laptop computers and 20 mobile carts. These were purchased off the Michigan Statewide Purchasing Online Tool bid. And I would mention, there is a correction to the funding source. It is at-risk 31A, not enhancement related.
All right. At this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Madison,
Support.
supported by Mr. Cox. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Hines, support. Ms. Madison.
Yes.
Ms. Madell.
Yes.
Mr. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo.
Yes.
Dr. Weaver.
Yes.
Ms. Walker.
Yes.
Let the record show 7-0.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item B, please.
Okay, thank you again, Madam President. 10 regular education buses I'm recommending for purchase tonight represent the expiration of 2-year leases that have the option to purchase at the end. At the start of the lease, the buses were priced at $96,500 and a total of $965,000. A portion of the annual $14,141.44 annual lease per bus was applied to the purchase price. The total cost of 10 buses at the end of this lease is $724,667.74 on August 1st of 2017. The purchase is from the annual allocation of the enhancement millage in the general fund.
Thank you. At this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Madison,
Second.
supported by Mrs. Madell.
Question before we
Okay,
vote?
any discussion? Dr. Weaver?
Yes. Mr. Larson Scheidler, what would be the cost of 10 new buses as opposed to buying buses 2 years old?
Well, that's interesting because we just brought new leases at the first June meeting, and I think they're 101,000 apiece.
So we're going to pay $95,000 for a used bus?
No, we're going to pay 72,400.
Oh, okay.
The total is 724,000. Those are 10, so
Okay.
72,400 each.
Okay, where did I get the 900,000?
That was the original purchase price had we bought them
Okay,
2 years ago.
now I understand, thank you.
Any other discussion?
Just this comment, we had this discussion last time, or I made the comment at least. This helps us get into a rotation of buses, purchasing a certain number each year.
Yes,
As
we're-
opposed to a whole series of buses. And so-
Exactly. We're purchasing 8 to 10 a year, so with we've structured our leases to roll off 8 to 10 per year.
Right.
And one other question, just be the guru here for a moment, just placate me, help me here. These buses are going to last how long?
Well, a bus should last 8 to 10 years, but that's why we have about 90 buses. So we're trying to get into the replacement cycle of 8 to 10 a year, so every 10 years, these will come up. And, well, for these, since they're 2 years old, in 8 years, we should be recommending replacement.
All right, are these buses ever, I'm trying to make sure we don't stop the meeting in 8 minutes, okay? So,
Oh, okay.
Not to worry.
are these buses ever washed or their bodies cared for?
They're washed regularly.
Regularly?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a big bus wash bay, and, yeah, they're washed at least weekly.
With soap?
Are
Are
you
they-
serious right now?
And then during the
Excuse
summer-
me, this is my time. With soap or just water?
No, soap and water.
Okay, thank you.
It's a thorough washing, and we wax them once in a while.
Is there anything else you'd like to discuss?
I could go get one and bring it in if you'd like. I mean,
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Madell?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
And Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Let the record show 7-0.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 113.18, the Head Start Monthly Report. Do you have one, Mrs. Madell?
No, I don't, because we haven't met
Okay.
this month. We still have a few more days left in this, in this month, but that's why you have not received a financial report as of yet either.
All right. Thank you. Moving on to item number 114.18, the Superintendent Report.
Thank you, President Walker. Good evening, and I do have 4 brief updates, so not to worry about minutes. Approximately a year ago at this time, Governor Snyder asked the Michigan Supreme Court to provide an advisory opinion about the constitutionality of private school funding from the school aid bill. I don't know if you recall that. It was about $2.5 million that was set aside. A lawsuit was filed challenging the use of those funds. As of July 5th, 2017, the Court of Claims issued an order blocking the state from appropriating those funds to private schools. The injunction is in place until August the 1st. In the meantime, the matter is sitting before the Court of Appeals, and we hope the stay on the use of those funds continues until the Court of Appeals decides. Second item is MIPSR's reform. The state determined the retirement system for public educators in Michigan will look different for new hires effective February 1st of 2018. Senate Bill 401 and House Bill 467, they're identical bills. They were signed into law by the governor. Essentially, the bills create an enhanced 401k style plan with employers contributing 4% of the employee's salary. And if the employee opts to contribute an additional amount up to 3%, that would be matched as well. Important point of note is the funds to match the employee contributions will be paid out of the school aid fund. If a person is hired after February 1 and does not make an election for the hybrid or defined contribution, the person will default to the defined contribution plan. MASB opposed this legislation and expressed their concerns that the increasing cost of the system will come out of the school aid fund, thereby diminishing funds for districts. As of right now, the direct impact on our district won't be known until employees are hired after the new effective date and they elect their plan. We'll continue to monitor the changes. The governor also signed the school aid budget for 17-18. We're pleased to receive $120 per pupil and $50 per high school pupil. Birth rate declines combined with this increase put us at approximately break even. And finally, we're still monitoring the federal budget that proposes to eliminate Title II-A funding. We use this money for our intervention support staff and professional learning for many of our employee groups. Wayne-Westland received just over $577,000 in 2016-17, and we're slated to receive approximately $619,000 in 17-18. Through the support of MASA, which is the School Administrators Association, districts have been expressing their concern about this potential elimination of funds. Any additional advocacy with our federal legislators to maintain these funds would be very helpful. So that is all I have. Thank you, President Walker.
Thank you, Dr. Hamali. Moving on to item number 115.18, citizen comments, non-agenda items. Seeing none. Item number 116.18, review and recommendations, Board of Education. Mrs. Madison.
No comment.
Mr. Cox.
Nothing tonight.
Ms. Hines.
No comment.
Dr. Weaver.
I'm announcing a filibuster. I'm now going to be reading the student handbook. Okay. Actually, I was concerned because we have lots of buses going down the road with that are whistling, with holes in the bodies and things like that. So certainly it's a concern of mine that they're nice and shiny and don't have holes in them. Thank you. That's my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Weaver. Mr. Buckaloo.
Buckle.
Thank you.
I wasn't going to say anything, but
Then
listening to
don't.
Dr. Harmel, I just can't help but say, I really do not like this state's new attitude towards employee pensions. It's not fair to the employees. Even if they max out the 401k contributions, it's going to provide them with just a fraction of what those of us who are in basic or MIP retirement plans are going to receive over the lifetime of our retirement. So that's not fair to them. I'm also concerned about the matching portion of the 401k that the school district is going to have to pick up. I don't really have any idea what that's going to amount to, but it does seem to be something that we're going to have little control over. I know if I were a new teacher, I would be maxing out that contribution and getting everything I could from the school district as well, it's just going to be expensive down the road, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Buckaloo. Mrs. Amadell.
Just two things. I want to congratulate all of our students who were either part of the Scholars Program or the Champions programs at either high school. I got a chance to go to the Scholars Banquet and see all of the students who were successful in meeting their goals this semester. I did not attend the Champions because I had another commitment, but I know that the students at Wayne High have been just as successful, if not more, than the students at John Glenn because they've been added just a little longer. But I'm very proud of our students at both of our high schools who are part of these programs. And I got my connections in the mail. most people don't know, this has been an ongoing battle for the last couple of years, that a lot of people are getting these, and I wasn't getting them delivered to my house, so I finally got my connections. But if there's anybody out there who is not receiving them, please, come on in. We've got more up front. You can pick up a copy, and we'll make sure that we find out why you're not getting them delivered to the house, because they're supposed to go out to everybody, so that we can communicate with everybody in the community as to all the great things that are going on in our school district.
Thank you, Mrs. Waddell. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, staff, for taking your time out to come. Great meeting. At this time, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Madison, supported by Mr. Cox. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Have a good evening.